I look at the future from a standpoint of probabilities. It's like a branching stream of probabilities, and there are actions that we can take.
We have a small electric motor that's down low by the battery pack. We are 70% water and only 30% land, and so really, the availability of fresh water is simply about energy and transport. In a surprising move, Elon Musk revealed on X that Tesla will shift its focus from battery-powered vehicles to hydrogen fuel cells. The decision comes as Tesla faces challenges in mass-producing its 4,680 battery cells, leading the company to search for alternative sustainable energy solutions. Musk also introduced Tesla's water engine, which is expected to play a key role in the transition. This raises several questions. What exactly makes this water engine so groundbreaking? How will it impact the automotive industry and other sectors? Keep watching for the latest mind-blowing technology from the Tesla CEO. Elon Musk, the visionary leader behind Tesla and SpaceX, is a prominent figure in technology and sustainability. His unwavering dedication to innovation has led to groundbreaking advancements in the automotive and space industries. With Tesla, Musk's vision was not simply producing electric vehicles, he sought to revolutionize transportation. He has been instrumental in accelerating the shift towards sustainable energy solutions by demonstrating electric cars' superior performance and desirability. Musk's ambitions with SpaceX reach beyond Earth. According to media reports, SpaceX wants to make space travel available for everybody and pave the way for human colonization of Mars. His relentless pursuit of these goals has solidified his reputation as a modern technology pioneer. The water engine is very practical, and the reason why we believe so much in it will blow your mind. Remember that SpaceX's effort in rocket reusability has also reshaped the space industry. The successful landing and reuse of rockets is now a reality, thanks to SpaceX's engineering prowess. This achievement demonstrates Musk's ability to bring ambitious visions into reality. Nobody believed in Tesla's vision when it started in 2003. Back then, electric vehicles were widely viewed as impractical. However, Musk's persistence led to the creation of the Roadster, a high-performance electric car that defied expectations and demonstrated the potential of electric mobility. And he didn't stop there. Tesla introduced models S, X, 3, and Y. Each model has pushed the boundaries of battery technology, range, and autonomous driving capabilities, making electric vehicles an increasingly attractive option for consumers. Beyond rockets and early Tesla electric car models, Elon Musk has demonstrated a keen interest in sustainable energy through the Tesla Powerwall and solar roof products. Tesla's solar roofs were designed to create a sustainable energy ecosystem for homes and businesses by integrating solar power generation with efficient energy storage. These products offer practical solutions for reducing reliance on fossil fuels. Let's go back to space exploration for a moment. SpaceX has achieved remarkable milestones in space exploration. The Falcon 9 rocket reduces the need for burning through raw materials in rocket production. And you know that the Starlink satellite constellation aims to provide global internet coverage. These achievements show Musk's far-reaching impact on technology and innovation. Now, let's talk about the water engine. This technology operates on a simple yet innovative principle, using water to generate energy. Things are about to get a lot more interesting. Traditional combustion engines rely on fossil fuels, while electric models run on batteries. Neither of them can provide the level of clean energy the world needs. The water engine employs a process known as reverse electrolysis. Let's break it down. Ordinary electrolysis uses electricity to break water into hydrogen and oxygen. Reverse electrolysis does the opposite, it combines hydrogen and oxygen to make electricity, with water vapor as the only byproduct. This makes it a clean and eco-friendly energy source. Here's how it works. Water is added to the system, and an initial energy input splits it into hydrogen and oxygen. These are stored in separate tanks inside the vehicle. When the engine runs, hydrogen flows into a fuel cell. Inside the cell, hydrogen is split into protons and electrons. The electrons create an electric current to power the motor, while the protons combine with oxygen to form water vapor. This process is a loop. Water becomes energy, then turns back into water. It's a game changer for creating sustainable and environmentally friendly energy. Inside the fuel cell, protons move through a special membrane and combine with oxygen from the air to produce water vapor. As long as hydrogen and oxygen are provided, this process keeps generating electricity efficiently. But how does this water-powered engine compare to regular and electric engines? The results are mind-blowing. Keep watching to find the answer and many more. According to experts, traditional combustion engines are about 20 to 30% efficient, wasting much energy in the form of heat. On the other hand, electric engines are much better, with an efficiency of 85 to 90%. But sadly, electric engines also have their downsides. For instance, they are slow charging, and eventually, the battery wears out over time. The water engine is in the middle, with around 60% efficiency. While its efficiency is not as high as that of electric engines, it has another huge benefit: it is much cleaner and more sustainable. This makes it a promising alternative for greener energy in the future. And that's not all. The water engine uses the high energy in hydrogen to go as far or farther than traditional gas-powered cars. Think about a car that only gives off water vapor and doesn't leave you worried about running out of power on the road. That's what makes the water engine so interesting. Unlike electric cars that need long charging times, the water engine can be refueled quickly, just like a gas car. This speed, combined with its eco-friendly nature, makes it a strong option for transforming the automotive industry. One of the biggest advantages of this is cutting down carbon emissions. Regular engines release a lot of carbon dioxide and pollutants, which harm the environment and contribute to climate change. The water engine, on the other hand, produces only water vapor. It's a clean, sustainable option that could help reduce our carbon footprint and lead us toward a greener future. To put it into perspective, a typical gas-powered car pumps out about 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide yearly. Switching to water engines could completely erase these emissions. Additionally, environmental activists believe that urban air quality would improve dramatically without nitrogen oxides and other harmful particles. Electric vehicles are cleaner than gas cars, but they're not perfect. Mining for battery materials like lithium and cobalt harms the environment. If the electricity for charging EVs comes from fossil fuels, the carbon savings aren't as big as they claim. The next clean option is hydrogen fuel cells, since they only produce water as waste. But it is not as simple as it sounds. The production of hydrogen often relies on natural gas, which still releases carbon. This shows how tricky it can be to find truly sustainable ways to power transportation. The water engine offers a promising step toward a cleaner and greener future. Storing and transporting hydrogen is easy. It has low energy density and needs high-pressure tanks to keep it stable. What Tesla engineers did to fix that will blow your mind. Tesla engineers believe that using reverse electrolysis, their water engine could solve these issues more cleanly and efficiently. Financially, the water engine could save a lot in the long run. Gas engines need regular maintenance, like oil changes and exhaust repairs, which add up over time. Electric cars have fewer moving parts, so they cost less to maintain, but battery replacements are expensive and can affect the environment. With its simpler build and fewer parts, the water engine needs less upkeep and has lower running costs. These savings could make it a more affordable choice for people. You can bet it will be a cleaner, cost-effective alternative to traditional and electric vehicles. The components of water engines, like fuel cells and electrolysis systems, are built to last, potentially giving vehicles a longer lifespan. And you don't have to worry about price. As the technology improves and becomes mass-produced, the initial price of water engine cars could drop, making them more affordable for everyone. A groundbreaking move that could accelerate the shift to sustainable energy. Others express skepticism about the real-world applications. According to Joseph Ra, a former U.S. Department of Energy official, hydrogen cars are among the least efficient and most expensive ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That is not all. Ra also argued that the infrastructure costs for a nationwide network of hydrogen refueling stations would be too expensive for any person or government to bear. Additionally, over 100 scientists, led by Professor David Shawn of the University of Cambridge, criticized using hydrogen-powered vehicles for the Paris 2024 Olympics. They argued that these vehicles are not as environmentally friendly as claimed, pointing out that hydrogen cars require approximately 3 times more renewable electricity than battery electric vehicles. They also noted that most hydrogen is produced from fossil fuels, undermining its green credentials. Maybe Tesla's water-powered engine will address some of the fears raised by these critics. No matter what the experts say, the ultimate say lies with the public, who are expected to be the product's users. Public reaction to Elon Musk's announcement about the water engine was met with excitement, curiosity, and doubt. Tesla fans and environmentalists have been eagerly sharing the potential for cleaner, more efficient engines on social media. Many love that we would have reduced emissions and the chance to redefine sustainable transportation. But not everyone is convinced. Remember that Elon Musk had always rubbished the idea of a water engine. People are now wondering why he suddenly shifted from his previous skepticism of hydrogen technology. But there is another disturbing reality. Keep watching to find out. One of the biggest concerns is building an entirely new refueling infrastructure. While gas stations are everywhere and electric vehicle charging networks are growing quickly, creating a similar system for water engines would demand significant funding and collaboration. The success of this technology depends on tackling some big hurdles. First, reverse electrolysis must become more efficient and affordable. Second, a widespread, user-friendly refueling network needs to be built. Lastly, winning over the public will require addressing fears about costs, safety, and practicality. If Musk and his team can overcome these obstacles, the water engine could revolutionize transportation and pave the way for a greener future. But it won't be easy. This journey is full of too many unknowns. Only time will tell if this bold vision becomes a reality. In contrast to the widespread network of gas stations and the rapidly expanding infrastructure for electric vehicle charging, the infrastructure for hydrogen fuel cells remains in its early stages. Hydrogen refueling stations are relatively scarce globally, concentrated primarily in regions like California, Japan, and parts of Europe. While this network offers a foundation for water engines, which use a similar hydrogen-based refueling process, significant expansion is necessary to support widespread adoption. And the good news is that Tesla has a plan. According to company sources, Tesla will leverage its expertise to build EV supercharging stations. The company plans to retrofit existing EV stations with hydrogen refueling capabilities and construct new stations specifically designed for water engines. This ambitious undertaking requires substantial investment and collaboration with governments and private sector partners to guarantee widespread availability and convenience for consumers. But key questions remain about the speed at which this network can be built and the logistical and financial obstacles that must be overcome. These questions are important as Tesla progresses with its water engine rollout. The cost of infrastructure development, the reliable production and distribution of hydrogen, compliance with safety regulations, and public perception pose significant challenges that must be addressed to integrate this new technology successfully. Safety is undeniably paramount when introducing new technology, and the water engine is no exception. We are about to reveal a critical flaw in the water engine concept. You don't want to miss the next scene. While hydrogen offers a clean energy source, it is also highly flammable and requires careful handling. Remember that the water engine converts water into hydrogen, essentially inheriting these safety challenges. To mitigate potential risks, Tesla has implemented several safety measures. For instance, they will integrate an advanced hydrogen storage system to ensure hydrogen is stored securely within the vehicle. These systems are designed to withstand high pressure and prevent leaks, undergoing rigorous testing procedures to meet and exceed safety standards set by international regulatory bodies. By prioritizing safety at every stage of development and deployment, Tesla aims to establish the water engine as a reliable and secure technology. However, whether these safety measures will fully alleviate public concerns remains to be seen. Building trust and ensuring public confidence will require ongoing communication and transparency about the technology's safety features and protocols. Additional steps, such as public awareness campaigns and independent safety certifications, could further enhance the perception of the water engine as a safe and trustworthy alternative. This brings us to the issue of legal and regulatory requirements. Regulations regarding hydrogen storage, transportation, and use are different in all countries. Tesla will need to work closely with regulatory bodies to ensure compliance and secure the necessary approvals for the widespread adoption of this new technology. The problem is that this process is not as easy as it seems. Let's walk you through the process. It often begins with extensive documentation, rigorous testing, and ongoing dialogue with regulators to address concerns and adapt to evolving requirements. Without these efforts, Tesla would never have overcome regulatory hurdles. There is another important question to answer. Is it worth the stress? The case for the water engine starts with how it compares to hydrogen fuel cells. We mentioned earlier that hydrogen fuel cells offer high energy density, enabling long driving ranges and quick refueling times. They also emit only water vapor, making them environmentally friendly. However, challenges arise in producing, storing, and transporting hydrogen gas, which is highly flammable and requires specialized infrastructure. Water engines are better at on-demand hydrogen production. This implies they can offer better storage and minimize risks associated with handling hydrogen gas. But that is not all. Water engines can integrate seamlessly with renewable energy sources, further enhancing sustainability. However, reverse electrolysis requires a significant initial energy input, which can impact overall efficiency. The bottom line is that the success of the water engine will depend on various factors, including its ability to overcome technical challenges, the establishment of robust refueling infrastructure, and its competitiveness with existing technologies like hydrogen fuel cells and battery electric vehicles. We've discussed the high cost of research, development, and investment needed for water-powered vehicles enough. Now, you may be wondering about Tesla's earning potential and that of potential investors. The market potential for water engines appears promising, although challenging. The good news is that the automotive industry is shifting focus on reducing carbon emissions and adopting sustainable energy sources. Governments worldwide are setting strict emissions targets and offering incentives for clean energy technologies, creating a favorable environment for innovation like the water engine. So, innovators like Elon Musk are not alone in their commitment to sustainability. On the market potential, water engines may appeal to early adopters and environmentally conscious consumers at the initial stage. However, as technology improves and costs decrease, more people will adopt it. According to forecasts from analysts, water engines could gain substantial market share in the next decade. If Tesla can resolve the issues with efficiency and infrastructure and scale up manufacturing and deployment, it might also need to partner with the public and commercial sectors to guarantee this growth. It is important to mention that water engines will not be alone in the market. The tech will still have to compete with established technologies like battery electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel cells. Each of these technologies has its strengths and weaknesses, and factors like cost, range, refueling time, and environmental impact will influence consumer preferences. Apart from Elon Musk's determination and the ingenuity of Tesla engineers, other factors will determine the market fortune of water engines. We are talking about government policies, technological advancements, and consumer demands. Now, there is something scary about these factors. The scary news is that they are not constant. Water engines must adapt. Fast, loud, and unpredictable, it was filled with quick-cut comedy sketches and catchphrases that young audiences loved. The show made fun of everything, including politics. Some of Nixon's advisors thought appearing on Laugh-In was a terrible idea, others believed it could make him seem more relatable. Paul Keyes, a conservative writer for the show and a Nixon supporter, pushed hard for it. He argued that a few seconds of humor could change how people saw Nixon. On September 12, Nixon arrived at NBC's Burbank studios to film his segment, but there was a problem. The producers wanted him to say something silly like, "You bet your sweet bippy." Nixon refused. He didn't understand the phrase and didn't want to look foolish. He finally agreed to one line, "Sock it to me." Even that took effort. It took 6 takes to get a version where he didn't look annoyed or confused. The show's producer, George Schlatter, later said he rushed the footage out of the studio, afraid Nixon's team might try to stop it from airing. When the episode aired on September 16, people were stunned. Nixon's appearance lasted only 6 seconds, but it was so unexpected that it got a huge reaction. His awkwardness made people laugh. He didn't come across as hilarious or charming, but he seemed human, and in politics, that mattered. At the time, Laugh-In was the highest-rated show on TV, which meant Nixon's cameo reached millions of viewers. Some political analysts believe it helped him win over undecided voters, especially younger ones. The election was incredibly close. He defeated Hubert Humphrey by less than 1% of the popular vote. In such a tight race, every little moment counted. Humphrey, however, made a mistake. He was also invited to appear on Laugh-In and was given a simple line, "Yes, please do sock it to me." But he turned it down. He thought it would make him look unserious. Nixon took the risk, and Humphrey didn't. In the end, one candidate embraced modern media while the other stayed away. Today, it's normal for politicians to appear on late-night talk shows, but in 1968, it was a gamble. And for Nixon, it paid off. In 1969, Harry Belafonte filmed a segment for Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In that never made it to air. It was meant to be a powerful statement. He performed the calypso song "Don't Stop the Carnival," but the real impact came from what played behind him. Instead of the usual bright and colorful set, the screen was filled with footage from the 1968 Democratic National Convention protests in Chicago. Police were beating demonstrators in the streets. Tear gas filled the air. Protesters chanted, "The whole world is watching." It was raw, real, and impossible to ignore. The protests had been one of the most shocking moments in modern American history. Thousands of demonstrators gathered in Chicago to protest the Vietnam War. They were met by a massive force of police and National Guardsmen. The violence peaked on August 28 outside the Conrad Hilton Hotel. Officers swung batons at unarmed protesters. Tear gas sent crowds running. Journalists captured the chaos on live television, forcing the country to see what was happening. Now, a year later, Belafonte wanted to make sure people didn't forget. NBC refused to air it. Executives thought it was too risky. They feared backlash, especially from conservative audiences and advertisers. The footage had already caused national outrage when it was first broadcast in 1968. Now, paired with Belafonte's song, it became even more confrontational. The network wasn't willing to take that chance. They cut the entire segment before it could ever be seen. This kind of censorship wasn't new. In the 1960s, television networks carefully controlled what made it to air. They avoided controversial topics like racism, war, and police violence because they didn't want to alienate viewers or sponsors. Even Laugh-In, a show known for pushing boundaries, had to walk a fine line. Its creator, George Schlatter, later admitted that cutting Belafonte's segment was a missed opportunity. It could have been one of television's most powerful moments. Belafonte didn't stay silent. He called NBC's decision cowardly. He had spent years using his music and fame to fight for civil rights. He saw this censorship as proof that networks were more concerned with keeping people comfortable than telling the truth. The lost segment became a what-if, a moment that could have made history but was erased before anyone had the chance to see it. Apart from that, in 1969, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In took a direct shot at Vice President Spiro Agnew. He had a habit of using dramatic and over-the-top language to attack critics of the Nixon administration. One of his most famous lines was "nattering nabobs of negativism," a phrase written for him by speechwriter William Safire. He loved alliteration and often used phrases like pusillanimous pussyfooters and an effete core of impudent snobs. His language made him an easy target for satire. Laugh-In jumped on the opportunity and exaggerated his style, turning him into a larger-than-life caricature. Agnew and the Nixon White House were not amused. Reports say his office called NBC to complain. But this was more than just a joke at his expense. It was a sign of the growing divide between politicians and the media. Laugh-In was one of the biggest shows on television, reaching millions of viewers each week. By mocking Agnew, it showed how comedy was becoming a powerful tool for political commentary. Agnew wanted to rally Nixon's silent majority by attacking the press and intellectuals. Instead, he made himself an easy punchline. His reaction to the parody only reinforced the idea that he could dish it out but couldn't take it. The more he fought back, the more comedians latched onto him as a source of endless material. This moment showed how humor could expose the absurdity of politics. At a time when the country was deeply divided over Vietnam and civil rights, comedy was becoming more than entertainment, it was shaping public perception. Another way Laugh-In made its mark was through the Flying Fickle Finger of Fate award. This was one of the show's most famous running gags. Introduced in 1968, the award was given to people or institutions responsible for ridiculous or harmful actions. The trophy itself was a gold hand with a pointing finger mounted on a wooden base. It was a funny but direct way of calling someone out. One of the earliest winners was President Lyndon B. Johnson. The show mocked him for escalating the Vietnam War. The Pentagon also received the award for wasting taxpayer money on directories that became outdated almost immediately. Laugh-In had a way of turning real frustrations into humor, calling out government waste and hypocrisy without making the show feel heavy or preachy. The Fickle Finger of Fate was so effective because it made serious points in a way that felt lighthearted. By turning political criticism into comedy, the show avoided outright censorship. But the people it mocked took notice. Sometimes, the reactions from politicians made the joke even funnier. The segment proved that television wasn't just for entertainment, it had the power to influence public debate. By 1970, Laugh-In took an even bigger risk with a sketch that caused instant controversy. The segment depicted police officers as pigs. The image had been popularized by the Black Panther Party, which used it in cartoons to protest police brutality. Seeing this kind of imagery on mainstream television was shocking at the time. The FBI saw it as a serious problem. Under J. Edgar Hoover, the Bureau had launched COINTELPRO, a secret operation designed to discredit radical groups. Hoover had called the Black Panthers the biggest threat to America's security. Any media that seemed sympathetic to them was seen as dangerous. When Laugh-In aired the sketch, the backlash was immediate. Law enforcement groups were furious and accused the show of promoting anti-police propaganda. The controversy reflected the deep divide in the country. Protests against police brutality were becoming more common, and the Black Panthers had forced a national conversation about racial injustice. Some viewers saw the sketch as an honest reflection of the times. Others saw it as an attack on law enforcement. The reaction showed how powerful comedy could be. The show also faced backlash from early LGBTQ+ activists. One of its recurring characters was Tiny Alice, played by Dick Martin in drag. The character was meant to be funny, but the humor relied on exaggerated stereotypes of effeminate gay men. At a time when LGBTQ+ people were fighting for respect, this kind of portrayal felt damaging. It wasn't just about Laugh-In, it was about the way Hollywood treated queer characters in general. Drag performances in mainstream media often played into the idea that being gay was something ridiculous. Activists wanted representation that didn't reduce them to a joke.